Today we talk about the struggles of unexperienced mixers and see if there are more rewards in music industry than just fame and money. Hi everybody!
Hey!
Let's dive in.
Yes.
What's the first question?
First question comes from Jack A99. Jack.
Hi Jack.
What's up? And Jack wants to know, what are the most common mistakes beginners make when mixing and how can they avoid them?
The first thing that comes to my mind is overdoing things. Just putting all the plugins of your plugin folder on one track.
Because you have them.
Because it's like, this and that, and without really knowing what's going on. On the other hand, sometimes things that are supposed to be done are not being done. Like removing some mud, because if you have 25 tracks and you have a buildup of low mids, which often tends to happen like 300-400 hertz-ish thing, that is really getting you get a mix like this and you lack brilliance and clarity. But then on the other hand, sometimes they start to carve out too much and then you lack depth and weight in the mix. So let's say the first good tip to avoid all of this is reference listening. Just pull up one or two tracks that are in the similar genre that you're working on, and when you think, hey, let's compare what I have so far with something that is objectively sounding classy, then it will reveal a lot. And then, it will either you will see that you're lacking dynamics, you're lacking clarity, you're lacking weight, or stuff like this. And then it's like identifying a problem first and then pulling out a tool, not pulling out a tool and then looking for a problem to fix with. Like, hey, I've got a hammer. There must be a nail somewhere That's not how it works. It's the other way around. It's like listening attentively. Is there something that's bothering me? It's a little bit harsh here. Okay, what can I do to remove harshness? Maybe I take an EQ and pull out something, or I take like a resonance suppressor like Soothe or something like this and gently suppress stuff.
Yep.
Gently. Yes. That's the thing. If you think like, let's put some reverb on that voice and reverb, and then this like, as if you're not so used to, you think like, that's so magic and that's so, but then you overdo it. So it's like, put on what you think that you do need, and when you think you're happy, then back it off by, 30, 40, 50%, and then you're probably closer than you thought you were.
Yeah, totally. Anything else?
Yes. The use of rooms and reverbs is often a giveaway. You can really hear like if it's sounding like demo-ish, that it's just the wrong choice of rooms. It just feels cheap somehow if you don't choose the rooms, so the reverbs and the delays and everything wisely. Often it's too much, and then often it's like just the wrong type of room. Too long, too short. So it's just like, if you're using reverbs in a mix, it's like to create the impression of a stage or of a room or of something. But if the illusion is not perfect, then it's just obvious. It's like the elephant in the room. It's like too much reverb, or the wrong reverb. Yeah. This really has to be like tasty. And a good tip that I can give is like, don't use like one reverb that you put on everything, but use 10 different ones: a short room, a long room, a short delay, middle delay, long delay, different textures. And then like when you are cooking, instead of putting like 5 kilos of pepper, you put a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And this blend just creates like a richness that you often don't hear in a demo mixes, or in like amateurish mixes.
Yeah. My 2 cents would be adding to that what you said in the beginning is, in general, with every move that you make in a mix, have intention and purpose, and ask yourself why you are doing what you're doing. And if you can't answer why you are doing it, you probably don't need to do it. Or maybe there is no reason to do something. It's like, as Patrick says, sometimes things need a lot and sometimes things don't need anything at all. And the challenge, or I think the craft that we are working in, is determining which of those cases it is.
Critical listening.
Yeah, pulling up a track in context. And not, maybe this is the way I would put it, not assuming that things have problems all the time. It's like you pull up a track in the context, you listen, and if your brain can't formulate a sentence that is like, this is too
then it's probably fine.
It's probably fine, yeah.
The context thing is very, very, very important, because it's a good thought, because often is like, when you start, like, let's say you have a rock band, and then it's like EQing the kick drum in solo for 3 hours. This is, first of all, it's completely pointless, because no one is ever going to listen to that kick drum in solo, ever. And then, even if you think, now my solo kick drum sounds amazing, as soon as you put all the rest in, it doesn't sound amazing anymore, because it has to be treated in context. That's a big thing. Amateur mixes often don't sound like one big thing. It's like a bunch of different elements that really don't fit together. And probably this is because newer engineers, they don't listen to everything at once, but they listen too much stuff in solo. And there you identify problems that either are no problems, or you have problems, but you don't hear them because you're not listening in the context. You would be surprised how stuff sounds sometimes isolated. They sound great in a mix, but isolated, you would think like, that's not so pretty. But it has to work in context and not on its own.
Totally. I just want to add, I don't want to take credit for this, because I can't remember where I heard it or who said it, but some engineer once said, we are mixers, not separators. And I think that's, such a smart way of looking at it, especially for a beginner. It's like you're meant to blend things together, not to separate them. So
that's good, yeah.
To make sense of it, you have to listen in context. It does, like Patrick said, you can work on a kick drum for 3 hours and it's going to be on its own. Maybe on its own, it's gonna be the best kick drum in the world. But who cares? Because nobody listens to kick drums.
That's it. Cool. Great question. Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, we have a question from Clive Jensen. Hi, Clive.
Hey, Clive.
Clive is asking, what does success in music look like to you, beyond awards or financial gain?
Well, that's broad.
It's all about the money.
Sure,
it's all about the money.
I just want bling bling and nice cars and no. I would say, talking about music production, probably if as many people who are involved in a project are as happy as they possibly can be. So let's say I get hired to mix something, for example, like an album, and then the album is finished. And I think it's a killer album and I like to listen to it and I'm proud of it. And the band or the artist is super happy with it. And they are so proud that they want to share it. And there's maybe one person, if all the moms of those band members love the record and get goosebumps, and that's a success for me in a way.
Goosebumps is a pretty good reward.
Yeah, and the reason I said it has many faces is because I could go like in several directions. If, for example, that band then decides to come back to me for another record, I mean that's a level of like happiness, trust, and pride, and just good vibes that manifests itself in just, hey, we want to do this again. This was great. This was fun, and we had a great result. Like this is very rewarding for me. And I mean, obviously, still, like if we want to talk about the actual like more like financial success. I mean, this is a financial success also.
Yeah,
not
because
not in the
if they
bling
come
bling
back,
great cars type of way necessarily.
Yeah, but there is the thing. If you have like one happy client, this can result in this client is coming back. He's going to tell friends.
Yeah, it's like the snowball thing.
That's the $100,000 thing.
Yeah.
So you one small artist you're working with, like not so known, this can result in. To me, it's like it's very satisfying to put everything I have for every musician I work with. I really don't give a bleep about how big an artist is. I usually find, or I often find that the small artists, in terms of not so well known, they are phenomenal musicians, and they are so likable, and we have so much fun during recording. So it's like the journey is rewarding. It's not only like the outcome at the end, like what you can pull out of the cash machine, but it's like the whole journey is enjoyable, and everyone is happy, having a good time. We're having a great result at the end.
Yeah.
This is very fulfilling. Satisfaction and happiness and this rewarding feeling of having created something that is going to be there forever. That's quite a thing.
Yeah. And also create it with somebody else. I mean, when you produce your own music, then maybe it's a different thing. But that's also a thing. It's always a collective thing, which I think is such a I don't know, from more like a philosophical standpoint, it's just a nice thing that you get together. Sometimes not physically when I'm just mixing. Obviously not, but still, in a way, you get together with people. Sometimes people you have never met before. Sometimes people you will never meet. Maybe in a Skype call or a call, or just emails. Or not even that. But still, at the end of the day, there will be
there's a connection.
There's a connection there that you did over a span of time that, as Patrick said, will last forever. And that's quite magical, I think.
It's funny. I have felt as like the fifth band member so many times.
Yeah.
It's really like, that's also pretty rewarding if you are like included in this thing.
Totally.
It's quite the thing. Yeah.
Awesome.
So that should be the biggest reward. Of course, if you can live from it and pay your bills and everything, that's awesome as well. But yeah, if you're doing it as a hobby or just for fun, the big reward should be just the way from A to B.
Yeah.
So enjoy.
Cool.
Was a good question.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we meet again next week.
Leave us more questions.
And see you next week then.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.